Out there, YouTube, this is SDL0320 representing JVS. I'm back here again for the top 10 list of 2015, and it was freaking hard because there were so many good movies. I think my worst list is like dumbed down to around like 5 or 6, but there's so many listings of movies that even some I haven't even seen yet that are considered amazing. So the best way I'm going to be able to do this is I'm going to give you my honorable mentions first. Then I'm going to give you my official favorite list. Now, this list that I'm going to give y'all, this is not what I think is going to be necessarily Oscar worthy. These are just for some of my favorite personal movies this year. I think Joe's going to have his own list, and I'm going to allow him to go ahead and make a video specifically for that if you'd like to. But the first thing I'm going to do is label off from the 10th to the 1 for just honorable mentions, and then I'm going to go to my actual list. So just stay put. I'm not going to go as much detail with these. I'm just going to kind of give y'all brief cliff notes of it. So, number 10, honorable mentions, is me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. I got to meet this entire cast. It's Thomas Mann, what was his name, R.J. Cyler, and Olivia Cook, and they're amazing young actors. And I mean, the story was really heartfelt, really amazing, and I was like, wow, this is one of the best movies this year. Like, even when I went and I saw it at advanced screening, I even talked to the director, I was like, you did something amazing. So that was my number 10 honorable mention. Next would be Jurassic World. For all its faults and all the money that it made, it was a great time. Yeah, it paid homage to the classics a little bit too much, but it was a great time in the theaters. I saw it like maybe twice, so I definitely enjoyed it. That would be my number 9. It Follows. It probably should be ranked higher. The only problem that I had was just the content of it, but it was definitely an amazing horror flick. It was excellently executed. The camera angles, cinematography were excellently done, and it was unlike any kind of horror movie I've seen up to date. So I thought that was a really good one. Inside Out for the kids, hands down, probably the best animated picture this year. I thought that Big Hero 6 was my favorite last year, but this one was definitely, it was heartfelt, but at the same time educational. They went there with it, and I actually really appreciated that. So what am I at? So that was 10, 9, that was 8. No, that was 7. Sorry. So my number 6 would be Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. This probably is the best Mission Impossible to date. I think second only to a number 1, number 3. It had it all. I mean, even the female lead in this one, I think she could have easily been the replacement for Ethan Hunt. So that was really awesome. DBZ, Resurrection of F. That was my 5. Actually, everybody went crazy over this movie. Everybody forgets that we all rushed to the theaters just to see Dragon Ball Z. I don't care who you were. If you knew Dragon Ball Z, you went to that theater because all of my theaters were packed. It was an awesome time, especially seeing Vegeta showcase his new power, and as well as Goku, and then the return of Frieza, even though it was gold. But it was a good time in the movie theaters. I enjoyed it. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Believe it or not, Henry Cavill, he could be James Bond. Like, the picture was just so cool and so awesome, as well as the young actress that I'm going to name her one of her movies in a little bit, Alicia. How do you pronounce her last name? It's Vikander. She does an amazing job, as well as I think Armie Hammer was also in it, and it was a good movie. I actually really enjoyed it. I saw it in IMAX, and I was like, wow, this is a really slick film. I need to go ahead and buy that, actually. I should have bought it over Black Friday. Next one I would say, number 3, would be Southpaw. Dude, Jake Gyllenhaal can do it all, but I mean, between him and Rachel McAdams, they did such a good job from showmanship to making the believability of their characters. And they didn't make it the kind of cliche sense of what Rocky was. It made it something even more elevated. And that's not just compared to Creed, because Creed's a whole other thing I'm talking about later. But it was done really well, and I really appreciated the movie, and I bought it as soon as it came out. I know y'all wanted this to be a bit higher, but Ant-Man. Dude, who didn't enjoy Ant-Man? Who didn't go in and buy Ant-Man? This one of the coolest characters. Like, Paul Rudd killed the role. Everybody else that was in it, such as Michael Douglas, all the villains. I mean, the action was just up there. It was definitely one of my favorite instances of fun factor this year. Definitely gonna hands down probably get some Oscar nominations for CG animation as well. My number 1 though, honorable mention, I wanted it to be part of the regular. It would be Ex Machina. I really wanted to be a part of my top 10 because the movie was just so amazing. Like Domhnall Gleeson won. Just his acting level is crazy. Then you got Oscar Isaac, and both of these people are in Star Wars. I mean, they did such an amazing job chemistry-wise. But then Alicia, she nailed it. She should get a nomination alone for just that portrayal as that robot. It was amazing. So now, without further ado, this is the official favorite listing for JVS SEO 0320. These are my top 10. So let's go ahead through it. Well, actually, I messed up number 10. Number 10 is a split. It's a split between The Gift, believe it or not, and The Visit, M. Night Shyamalan movie. Now, the thing about The Gift is that Jason Bateman and Joel Edgerton, the tension in that movie, the cinematics, and the unbelievability of the turnout, I was just like, this is one of the best movies I've seen this year. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this was amazing. But then The Visit, the reason why I loved it is because I didn't expect it to be something good coming from M. Night Shyamalan. And it was so low budget, but it was excellently performed. The actresses, the actors, the older generation actors, they all nailed it on every front. And that's the reason why it's on my top 10, unfortunately. It's on both Gift and The Visit. I don't know which one. Y'all probably like, put The Visit down below, but either way, I really did enjoy it. Believe it or not, War Room. War Room was one of my favorite films here. It wasn't because of the acting. It wasn't because of the acting. It wasn't because of the pacing or the camera angles. No, it was the execution of the message, clear and cut. The realization of family, faith, and understanding how the progression of life is, in spite of trying to do something out of your own esteem. And I mean, just the progression of the characters and the dynamics of the family, it was just so edifying for me from a life standpoint, that when a movie can actually touch me and hit me, it's doing its job, regardless of what the Academy says, regardless of what somebody else says, trying to judge and nitpick upon the acting levels. It was just an awesome one. And not just that, I love like Courageous, Fireproof, Flywheel. If you've not heard of any of these films, the director does an amazing job with it. Definitely should check it out. But definitely, I love War Room. Like I said, this is my list. This is not saying these are going to be Oscar picks. The next one I would say would be Hateful Eight. Yes, that's my number 8, unfortunately. But the movie was amazing. I mean, groundbreakingly epic on a visual level, on an acting level. Like Samuel Jackson kills it. Kurt Russell kills it. I mean, having it shot by Quentin Tarantino in 70mm, like it was awesome. It was like eye candy. I think I described it as a beautiful disaster. So that's my number 8. My number 7 is actually Bridge of Spies. Reason why, quite honestly, is I mean, yes, Tom Hanks kills it. I mean, he does a great job. It's good to see him back in the limelight, as opposed to doing like those other films. That trilogy, was it? Shoot, I forget what the name of that series that he's working on. It's a trilogy now. But Mark Rylance, that plays the role of the proposed spy, he does so well that throughout the most of the picture, I was like, I don't even know if this dude's guilty or not. And that in and of itself, like seeing on an otherworldly sense as well of what was going on in that era, what is going on now, it was so awesome and believable the way they executed it. And I think that it was definitely one of the better films this year. Sicario, Benicio del Toro, Emily Blunt, taking you to the overseas and showing you what is going on right now from the cartel standpoint, from the Middle East standpoint. It's just raw. It's gritty, it's raw, it's dirty, it's hard to watch, and it's definitely a standout performance, specifically from Benicio del Toro. So that was the reason why I got it from that level. Now, I think I'm getting close to the top 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I guess my number 5 is The Martian. I mean, all I can say is the all-star cast. The cast is awesome. Like, I mean, Danny Glover, not Danny Glover, but what is his name? Oh my gosh. It was so many different actors in it. But the one that changed the scope of it and the way that he handled the situation is, of course, Matt Damon. Matt Damon, he made you strive and want to believe in his character and believe in the process of life in spite of the worst situations, being stuck on Mars. Like, you wouldn't believe he would be able to get through it, but I mean, it was just so well done, so well paced, so well acted. I think it's definitely gonna get a Best Picture nomination. I'll go ahead and say that on record. The next film I'm gonna say it should be probably my number one is The Revenant. Like Revenant by far is one of the best films this year. Alejandro kills it. Leo kills it. Tom Hardy kills it. In their execution, in their cinematography, in their acting, in their portrayals. There are times when Leo is saying some of the craziest, like, deepest things, but then there are times where he doesn't say anything, and the expression alone is so well executed, so well acted. And I mean, even with the situation of the antagonist with Tom Hardy, it was so well done, and that's the reason why it's definitely my number 5. Next one will be Mad Max. It should be my number 1 too. Mad Max was so awesome. Tom Hardy again. Oh my gosh. Oh girl, Charlize Theron. If she don't get a nomination for Best Actress, I will have a problem with it because they nail it. Now this was, Charlize's movie, but the subtle grunts and the action packedness and just the whole execution that George Miller does with this one, it brings me back to what 90s movies used to be about. And I loved every second of it. And if you have not seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. The next one that's going to be my number 3. Wait, is this number 2? Hold on. What? Okay, so Martian's number 5. Revenant number 4. Mad Max was number 3. Oh, number 2 is, of course, Creed. Creed definitely is one of my favorite films this year. Hands down. Sly, Sylvester Stallone, you nailed it. Michael B. Jordan, you nailed it. The female lead. Everybody in this film brought it, and as well as it was one of the best foretold stories that I've seen this year. It really impacted me on a deeper level, and I really enjoyed it because the willingness to survive opposition is what always the Rocky movies have been the underlying theme, but this was a deeper level because this is Rocky fighting for his life, and I loved it. And of course, my number 1 is Star Wars. I'm going to see this movie again tomorrow. This will be my 5th time watching it. I mean, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Domhnall Gleeson, Luke, Leia, Han, they're all back. They're all here. This was definitely one of the most amazing movies this year. It's a feel-good movie. It's not a perfect movie. It's not perfectly acted, but it was a great film. And out of everything that I've seen, out of everything that I've heard, there's not been a person I've said something like, this is terrible, like, this was definitely up there with one of the top Star Wars movies since Empire Strikes Back, and that's the reason why I gave it my number 1 pick. And hopefully y'all enjoyed this round of favorite picks today, and all I can say is this is what I'm thinking is probably going to come from the Oscar nomination. I think The Revenant's probably going to be number 1, Mad Max number 2, Hateful Eight number 3, The Martian number 4, Sicario probably number 5, The Room, which I haven't seen yet, number 6, Big Short number 7, which I haven't seen yet, Bridge of Spies number 7, Straight Outta Compton, and between Steve Jobs and Ex Machina for Best Picture this year. But we'll see, because it is like The Danish Girl and all these other pictures I haven't seen yet, but those are the ones I'm kind of thinking about. But hopefully you enjoyed my favorite picks and my honorable mentions, and then my nudges to the Oscar time. I will make another video officially for the Oscar time when I actually see all these movies. But thanks everybody for watching. This has been an awesome time. Stay tuned for I'm about to do the worst films that I thought about this year. But these were definitely my favorites. Again, hopefully y'all go and check out some of these films because they really impacted me this year. Later everybody. Woo! Oh, and it wasn't an accident that I didn't mention Avengers Age of Ultron. I don't know where to put it. I couldn't put it with my honorable mentions. I definitely wasn't on my top 10. Unfortunately, it was an awesome time, but I had to say that. And I know you can do better. Please give us better with Civil War, Marvel. Please. Yeah, sorry. I just had to mention that because it is worth talking about. Because it was an awesome time, but it could have been so much better. And why are you going to do that, Quicksilver? Really?